I've finally started to really soak in moments in my career, the joy, the pure joy I have doing what I do. And if you're prepared, there's no reason to be nervous.
Abby, I'm so excited for our guest today. One of my really, really good friends, Kathryn Tappen, kind of an iconic figure in the world of sports media and sports broadcasting.
I don't think there's a sport that she hasn't covered, and she is so busy. She was kind enough to join us in the middle of her day between a production meeting and a show that she has going on NHL Network. So we're so grateful for her time and grateful for her perspective because she's just experienced so much.
Yes, lots to get inspiration from, whether you're early in your career, mid-career, or late in your career. Here's our conversation with Kathryn Tappen. I feel like she does everything. You're everywhere. Like, how do you even handle that workload?
I love the diversity of the projects I get to work on, but it's just a matter of it's my personality. You know, I don't do well sitting still and relaxing and staying home. I mean, I love to stay home, but I prefer to be working. I prefer to be doing what I love, being around the people I love working with. To me, it's like not even a job, you know, it's a lot of fun. But it can be busy, like football season when it overlaps with hockey season, you know, for the first couple months, like October, November can be a bit of a challenge. But again, we have such great teammates around us, like all of our research department and our producers. They do such a good job inundating you with the information. So it's just a matter of prioritizing the timing and reading the materials. You know, I'm constantly reading stuff, even in my off days and off season. So you're always staying current with what's happening around the different leagues. Like I'm still getting information now on college football. Obviously, there's a ton of news happening following the national championship. So between our group text message threads and, you know, reading articles, it's just, you know, I'm used to reading all this stuff and I just stay current with everything.
Pretty amazing, though, to bounce between sports like that, from college football to hockey to golf as well. But also, we spoke with your director, Jenny, and she mentioned that you guys do walks during game days early in the morning. How important is that for you with everything that you have going on to actually take some time before you really get into it and just kind of slow down and not have a screen in front of you?
Yeah, what's really cool about that, you know, Jenny and our director, Chuck Demeyer, take walks on Saturday mornings before the game early at like 6 a.m. And so when I first heard about this, you know, I'm a very routine oriented person, and like to get me up and out and do that was very different than what I normally would do on a Saturday morning game day. Like I like to get my runs in, and then I would, you know, look at my notes for the 800,000th time before our 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. meeting. But the first time she mentioned it to me, I was like, gosh, that sounds like a lot of fun. And I said, would you mind if I joined you? And so myself and Todd Blackledge joined them at Michigan State. And I'm thinking to myself, this is probably like a half-hour walk they go on. Oh, no, they're out there for like 2 hours.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's, you know, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. or so. And you're back in time for the meeting. It's a long, anywhere from 5 to 6 miles. And it starts off dark and it's really cold out. And then, you know, you start to see the sunrise. And I have to say, like, it has just created a whole new routine for me that is very healthy and very inspiring. And we're out there talking about other stuff besides the game. We're really bonding with one another. We're seeing nature. You know, these college towns we get to go to are so beautiful. And you're walking on trails. The deer are, you know, greeting you with the morning dew. And it's just really nice. And I think, you know, I was very grateful that Jenny and Chuck kind of invited me in this Saturday morning walk with them. And it is very important, I think, to clear your mind and to, you know, sometimes to change things up. Like you get stuck in your ways, you get very static. I was doing the same thing every single Saturday morning. And I think switching it up and doing this allowed me to see campuses more, see the areas we're going to more, and just to be able to chat with Todd and Jenny and Chuck in the morning, and just, you know, everything from like life to family to parents, like everything we talk about. So it's been really, really nice. And I've enjoyed it so much.
And it's interesting, like you mentioned, like just going around the campus. I feel like in a way you get a feel for the culture of the school that way too.
Kathryn, I'm going to put you on the spot
Yeah.
because we've talked about all of the things, all of the sports, all of the events that you have gotten the opportunity to cover. What is your favorite? I know your bread and butter is hockey, and I mean,
I know.
going out college football. Yeah.
I know it's such a hard question because I mean, I've had the opportunity to do Super Bowls and Olympics, and, you know, I'm starting to now, it's really interesting, and I talk to Naoko about this a lot, and, we're all in the same age category, and we've been in the business about the same amount of time, that I've finally started to really soak in moments in my career, and, like, think about them, right, when they're happening, whereas before it was just, "This is work, go, 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 go," and, this summer I was sitting on the set for 21 straight days broadcasting the Olympics and hosting, and I tried each day to not just run through what we were doing all day, the 6 hours or 8 hours of coverage, but, like, focus in on the people in that studio with me, the people in the control room, the events we were covering, the athletes we were talking about. And, gosh, this is my sixth Olympics. And how cool is this? I'm starting to really try to understand like how cool this job is. This year we were at the Winter Classic in Chicago for the NHL, which is one of my favorite events ever. That New Year's, the aura of ringing in the new year with an outdoor hockey game under the lights. You're around a lot of your friends. It's always been special to me. I love Saturday nights on the sidelines. A big time when Noah Eagle sends it down to me on the field for that opening kick interview with the coach. It's just like the adrenaline and the excitement and the joy, the pure joy I have doing what I do. And now I think I've just kind of had more of these pinch me moments of like, okay, you should soak this in and recognize what this means, because it doesn't last forever. And I've had the opportunity to do some really cool stuff. So I'm just trying to soak it all in a little bit more than I probably did in my early 20s and 30s.
Wait, speaking of early 20s, I was trying to explain to Abby how you got into the business because it's so unique and so different from anybody else we know. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. Sure. Yes. When I was little, I knew, in my 8th grade yearbook aspiration was to be a sports broadcaster. And I knew that I loved public speaking. I was part of a extracurricular activity at my elementary school called forensics, where you publicly spoke you competed against other schools and elementary schools. And I continued that in high school. So I knew I enjoyed speaking, and I loved sports. So in college, I studied journalism, and right out of college, I was sending my reel, which was like nothing because I really didn't have a lot of time to put this thing together. I sent it to every place on the planet, market like number 125 and up, middle of nowhereville, USA, just praying somebody would hire me or bring me on as a weekend sports anchor. And in the meantime, a mentor of mine in the business, Tim Pernetti, was an executive at CSTV at the time, which was College Sports Television. CBS College Sports. It's now CBS College Sports. And CSTV was having a walk-on tryout in New York City the summer I graduated college. So it was right in my backyard. I was a Jersey girl, just moved home for the summer. And he said, why don't you come and try out? It was a 2-day competition. It was everybody who wanted to be a sportscaster. There was about 150 of us, everybody from a Starbucks barista to a meteorologist in South Dakota to just somebody that wanted to be an on-air broadcaster who wanted to try out. And over the course of the 2 days, they narrowed it down from the big group down to the final 10 for the second day. And we were judged in front of celebrity broadcasters. It was Bonnie Bernstein, Sid Rosenberg,
Oh my gosh.
Brian Baldinger, and Gus Johnson, like legit broadcasters at the time. This is 2003, so this is a long, long time ago. And we had to get up and deliver our speeches in front of them and do an on-air broadcast. And it was like sportscaster boot camp. And at the end of the 2 days, I won the competition and was able to kind of get my start at CSTV.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
I was the final one. They sent me home in a black town car, and I pulled up to my parents' house at like
Wow.
1 a.m. I thought I was an absolute superstar.
You are, obviously.
But little did I know the hard
from that
work was
moment
just about
on,
to
they
begin.
been in there. It was a superstar in the
Yep.
making. Yes, good on them. They
Oh
saw
my
it.
gosh.
Absolutely. But Kathryn, so you said you love public speaking. Do you get nervous then? How do you don't ever? Never? Even in the
don't
beginning?
get nervous. I'd say I do get like adrenaline. Like I can tell, especially the big games. And again, it's not so much nerves. I think that like nerves tend to have a negative connotation, right? Everybody says nerves are bad. And I think there's an element of nerves that are really good too. It means that you're excited, you're looking forward to the opportunity. And if you're prepared, there's no reason to be nervous. By the time I get to kick off, it's like, I've got every single one of my hits. I'm ready to go. I know the injuries on both teams. I've spoken to both teams on the sidelines. I know who the personnel are that I need to stay in touch with. And then you just get excited. And I liken it to when I was a track and field athlete in college. And I remember the starting line of every single race. I mean, you almost feel like you were going to get sick. You were so like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And it wasn't that I was nervous that I was going to lose the race. I mean, I probably was going to lose, quote unquote. You try and come in the top 10 or the top 7. But, it was just that energy. And right before that gun goes off and you're just anticipating the moment of the gun going off and the starting line, you just get that adrenaline in you. And so I'd say that that's really, where I get, I'd say not so much nerves, but I would liken it to more energy and excitement. The nerves come when you know that maybe breaking news or you've really got to deliver something that can be quite challenging, a topic that's not necessarily something we all like to talk about. We've had a lot of anytime you have to get real serious, because let's be serious. I mean, sports are fun. 9 out of 10 times, you're interviewing the winning athlete, not the losing athlete. You get an opportunity to be around great superstars, and it's fun. But sometimes we have to talk about very difficult things, and that's when sometimes you want to make sure you are doing it perfectly, and you dot your I's and you cross your T's, and maybe you feel a little bit of nerves because of the subject matter is not something you're necessarily most comfortable talking about.
I'm like ingesting all of this because
So,
even though we are veterans in the field, like I feel like I'm still learning from you and Kathryn. I know that you talk to a lot of young, aspiring sports reporters, broadcasters, media folks, and what kind of advice do you give to people that are, that look to you and go, "I want to be her"? Because I'm sure you get that a lot, right?
I can't imagine
Yes.
how many people no going to like a reality TV show. Take football.
It's easy for us to be like, well, you can't be Kathryn Tappen. There's only one Kathryn Tappen. But for
that's
for
sweet of you
people that
guys.
come to you, like, how do you frame it so you're like, okay, like if you really want to do these are the things that you have to really focus on.
Yeah. Well, it's a great question. And I think, to you both as well. I mean, you get asked the question also, and you have tons of young women and young men that are looking up to you in the New England area. When you go national and you do Olympics opportunities, I mean, there's so many eyeballs and people that look at what we do and think, because when you get to this level, it does look easy. That's because we put years of preparation into it. And one of the biggest pieces of advice I always give people is, and young aspiring broadcasters is, you know, go the proper path, right? Like you don't start second grade without going to kindergarten and first grade, then you get to second grade. Everybody's in such a rush to be famous or Instagram famous or get the clicks or be in the spotlight, and a lot of people aspire to do what we do because they just want to be on TV. There's so much more that goes into it. And I always say, like, pay your dues, right? Make your mistakes when there's not a lot of eyeballs watching. I was probably so green and terrible at NBC 10 in Providence and 5 years on Nesson. I made mistakes, and I certainly tripped up at times or didn't know the cue from the producer. And those are learning experiences. But I was able to make those in markets and in places where it wasn't life or death. Now you get to this level and there's a lot of pressure and there's a lot more eyeballs on you, and you want to be perfect 100% of the time, which we all know is not achievable, even though we try to get there. And so part of my best advice is just to, pay your dues, do things the right way, get your feet wet, learn the business, learn the industry, learn behind the scenes, make sure you know what the director is doing, what the associate director is doing, what the producer's doing, what the graphics guys are doing. Like, understand the whole compilation of the show so that you can better understand what your role is in it, and you can be better and you can be a better teammate that way. But yeah, I mean, I think that's probably one of the biggest things. Like, don't be in a rush to get to the top. There's a reason there's steps along the way, and it's very important that you adhere to those steps.
It's great advice. It's hard to heed when you're in the moment and you're trying
know.
to, yeah.
Especially in the society we're in now, everybody just wants like instant gratification and clicks, and it's hard to kind of ring people back and rein them back and say it's okay, like your time will come.
I love that you use the word teammate too. But Kathryn, you mentioned social media, and Naoko and I have talked about you have a huge following, and I know part of that is because you're a member of the national media. But how do you balance that, and what importance do you put in maintaining that conversation?
I know I'm so bad at it.
I
It's like I think we all have a love hate with
You're
it.
not alone. It's just
I'm constantly talking to Naoko about it too. I just I recognize that that social media can be great and it can be not great. And I also recognize that I have a footprint on social media. I do have a wonderful following on Instagram, which I'm very grateful for. It brings in a lot of opportunities for me too. But I go kind of dark sometimes. Like if I'm not working, I really don't post much. And I need to be better at that because I know that, fans want a little bit more insight into my life. So I try to do, I love to play golf. So I'm obviously like it's very easy for me to post something when I'm out on the golf course. But if I'm out to dinner with my friends, I mean, you're hardly ever going to see that. I'm so careful about it, probably to a fault. Um, I think there's a fine line. I also do take significant breaks from it. I think that's incredibly healthy. I think it's also important to recognize that it's not all real. And it's so hard even for me to accept that sometimes because you just want to believe everything you see and everybody's lives look so perfect and all these, the birthday celebrations and the weddings and the this and the that. And sometimes, if you're in a challenging place in your own life, that can be incredibly deflating to see, other people's success and happiness and to think, well, why not me? So I think it's very important to see like, there's good and bad in life and people are going to choose to post what they want. And you might not see any of the bad and just think everybody's life is so perfect. Why isn't mine? And that's just not the case. So social media it's a great tool for all of us to promote what we're doing. Hey, coming up tonight on the show, we've got this, this, and this. Like, what a great way to get that out to our fans. On the flip side, it can also be tough to, to navigate, and you can find yourself going on the rabbit hole. I mean, just between like purchases alone on Instagram, I'm like, okay, I don't need another sweater, even though it's popping up and telling me I should buy this beautiful sweater.
I really that's so cute. But it looks great.
It looks
on
great,
Instagram.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's lovely, but I don't need to buy it again. So. It's hard though. I think, I look at my goddaughters who are in, that 8 to 10 to 11-year-old range. And, I fear for what they see on that Instagram. It's very important, I think, as all of us are adults looking at it, knowing how it makes us feel, that it's important to convey that message to our future young leaders. And, you both are parents. It's like, make sure we communicate that this is not all life and death, right? Social media it's not all what it's cracked up to be, and it's not everything that you're looking at is the truth. So it's a tough space. I think we're all still learning, right? As many years as it's been around, I'm still trying to figure it out.
And it's evolving. Yeah. It is. The social media landscape is also ever changing. So then you have to like keep up with it and understand like where.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, I can't, I'm done. I've got Instagram. That's it. I draw the line.
You found your focus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we've been talking about a lot about your career and, you are super, super busy. How do you find time for yourself? And when you do find time for yourself, like what are some of the things that you enjoy doing and some of the things that make you happy and you?
Well, what makes me happy is always like being outdoors and playing sports. I go to the gym every day. I love my Orange Theory class with a bunch of people that are in my town. I have a nice little community there. Makes me feel good to work out.
Orange Theory? What happened to boxing?
Well, so when I moved out of Manhattan, my boxing gym stayed in Manhattan. And unfortunately, during the pandemic, it did not survive. So I've done some private boxing sessions where I live now, but I do love to box. It's just harder to find boxing gyms out where I live now.
Like real boxing, right? Not kickboxing.
Yeah, just regular. Yeah, like sparring and stuff like that. I love it.
She's in hockey.
But I evolve. I take advantage of anything. Jenny had me at a Pilates class for my first time ever when we were on the road this season. So that was fun.
One of the reformers, or was it on the floor?
Yes.
Oh my God, the reformers are so hard.
I was like, what the heck is this? I was looking at her like, I don't even know where to put my feet or my arms, or it was, and I felt it the next day.
Have you ever done solid
what
core?
In God's name happened to my body?
Okay. Solid core I like because it's dark, which is a little scary on the reformers, but they also turn the music way up, which is I had not been familiar with Pilates. So when you're like screaming and wanting to cry, no one can hear you. So you're just like,
I love that.
And they're like,
I love the dark aspect of the gym.
I'm shaking. Please.
I love that. Yeah.
No, it's actually reminding me of a really funny story. So, Kathryn, like her idea of exercise is like really going hard, really going at it. And so one time we had this brilliant idea to be like, oh, Kathryn, like you're going to love this yoga class. Do you remember this? Our friend Justine was like,
oh my God.
She's like, no, I don't do yoga, right? And so Kathryn's like, I don't do yoga. It's too boring. And Justine, our friend, tried to convince her, no, but this is like hip hop yoga. You're going to love it. Yoga.
I was like, there's no difference. They're just playing slow hip hop music versus like still the same boring thing. So what part
of this is not yoga that I find boring?
So did you go?
Yeah.
Was it boring?
I did. Yes, unfortunately. I have since given yoga another try.
Oh, really?
I've given it a couple tries.
Okay.
Yes, last winter, my girlfriend that I live near was like, "You have to come to this class." So I've been trying because I know it's so good for your body and blah, 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 but I'm
And
not gonna
mental
lie, like
space.
Naoko said,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not a very good Zen
Yeah.
person. Like
I can
Naoko
see
said, I
that.
don't slow down. I like high intensity. Like the faster, the harder, the quicker I can do, the better. So, but getting back to your question about other stuff, like I love to read. I love to do home decorating and design. I love to do, I have hobbies. I enjoy spending time with friends and family. And so those are what I do. I find I carve out time. Like tonight I'll get home from work and I literally carve out an hour and a half at night where I read my book and I, kind of unwind from the day. And I find great joy in those little moments and just kind of taking a minute to relax and not think about work.
What are you reading right now?
I am currently reading The Women.
Is it good? Oh, I'm so afraid. So
It's
I'm terrible.
so
I am all of
good.
like romance entertainment. I don't like to read real. It's awesome. What is my only New Year's resolution is to read 5 not romance
You
books.
guys are so good that I can't even have it reading into my life anymore. I don't know, which is
You should read the Ellen Hildenbrand books. If you're up in New England, read her books. They are like page turners, Nantucket Beach novels. She's such a great author, and I love her books. And you will feel like, okay, I can read 5 books in a matter of no time when you read her books.
Yeah, I also will get like locked in on one and then cannot do anything else and finish it in a day or something. My kids are like, "Mom,
Oh, wow.
Mom," I'm like 5 minutes.
Hi, we're
please."
here.
Yeah, let's get into the good part.
I'm a
Just stop.
notoriously-
chapter. Yeah, totally.
I'm a notoriously slow reader. I think I read like I'm broadcasting. It's like every syllable, every sentence. So it takes me forever to finish a book.
I saw something on Instagram that someone was explaining the psychology that when you listen to a book, it's different than you read it. And I thought to myself, I'm like, you, Kathryn. I'm like, no, I read every word when I'm reading. I'm like,
Yes.
the next page. Like, Kathryn, how much
Yes.
more confident are you now? And you mentioned that a little bit, but also I feel like we have to deal with the aging part of it and like trying to stay current and how do you decide what to wear and what is appropriate and
Right.
all of that.
And do you find yourself like sort of trying to cater to the audience of the now?
Yeah. I mean, I just think in general, I'm in my 40s now and the perspective is very different. There are always moments where you feel like, oh my gosh, to your point, like, am I dressing the right way? Do I look young enough still? And all these things. And we're constantly, as we, circle back to the social media aspect, we're constantly comparing ourselves and, looking at things and new trends. And I mean, everything from like makeup trends to clothing trends, it's all out there and it's at our fingertips 24/7. So I think I get the most confidence in just doing what I do, but also from the people around me. Knowing that my producers and my directors and my colleagues on air, like they've got my back and they believe in me as much as I believe in myself. And I think that's a really important thing to recognize is that you've got to have your bosses, if you will, whoever it is that's helping you on these shows and that's involved in the programs that you're a part of, believing in you. They've got your back and they know that you're the best person at that position at that moment in time, to make their show better. And you get a great sense of confidence when the people around you also believe in you, right? It's just like when you grow up and your mom and your dad are your biggest cheerleaders, and that gives you the confidence as a young kid to succeed and to do well in school and to do well in your extracurricular activities. It's no different, I feel, in the professional world. When you've got people surrounding you that want to uplift you and make you better and make you a better teammate and help you grow, there's nothing better than that. And that, Abby, goes back to, that's how you get more confidence and you can then perform at the highest level that you're expected to do.
And sports is kind of like a microcosm of our world, right? It's like, so like, yeah, I was just thinking as you were talking about those elements that create a successful workspace. And I was like, oh, that's kind of like how a sports team works, even though like each person is for themselves in a certain way, that's their career. They have to succeed. You're really like, it's how you work together that can ultimately achieve the greatest success and
Yes.
like understanding the importance of that. Yeah, so I've been thinking recently.
Okay, along with the horse, I don't know, Kathryn, how much time you have left, but is there like a moment of adversity or something that has really kind of knocked you down, and how were you able to deal with that and then pivot to or continue to move forward onto the next thing?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think, I've been in this business 21, 22 years. I think I'd be lying to you if I didn't say I've been knocked off a number of times. And it's the most challenging thing to deal with. It is a very subjective business that we work in. So at any given point, a decision can be made not based on you didn't do a good job, or, it has nothing to do with merit and hard work. It has to do with a decision made by above that you have no control over. And it always is with me. It's probably, the biggest fire that burns inside me is knowing what has happened in the past, certain instances throughout my career that knocked me down or that made me feel lesser than, that stole my confidence from me, that made me hurt inside, personally and professionally. And they're always in there, but it's what you do with that fire, right? You can either go crawl under a rock and just absolutely cry yourself to sleep every night and, just pray to get yourself out of the business and go a different direction. And I know a lot of people that do that. Or you can, it's life, right? Like, it's going to happen no matter what profession you're in. It happens in personal lives. It happens professionally. You're going to get knocked down in life. You're going to fall off your bike as a kid. You're going to have hurtful things said to you over the course of your lifetime. It's how you respond to that. And I think it all goes back to surrounding yourself with really good people. I mean, Naoko is one of my best friends. Probably received a lot of phone calls over the years when those moments have occurred, when I've been knocked off. He's been knocked off. And that's what you need. You need the friends that are around you, the support system, the parents, whoever it is, who believes in you and who can help you get out of that dark place and recognize your greatness, your worth, all of those wonderful things that you've worked hard to achieve. They're still there. It's just that you're gonna face a little bit of rough patch from time to time. And and I think you look at anybody in the business, and you see it from everybody that's at the top, to the middle, to just starting out. These moments happen, and they're hard. As I mentioned, they're very hard to overcome. But I think it makes you stronger in the end, and it's how you respond. And I also think in those moments, people are watching your reaction, right? Like, I've dealt with very public humiliation before and public heartache. It's how you carry yourself as a leader, and you hold your head high and you rise above it, and people watch that. And they watch and they learn and they take note. And I will say that in the course of all the stuff that's happened to me in my career, personally, professionally, whatever it may be, people have taken note, and those people are always in my corner to offer me opportunities down the road.
I love that perspective. Thank you for that. And I feel like
I love how classy you always are, Kathryn, but also like how centered you are in this moment talking about it. I mean, it's definitely like inspiring, and I hope other people find inspiration from that as they sort of, go through their career paths and feel like there are times that, the odds are against them or people are against them or things like that.
Yeah. I think it's important too. I'm one that I don't air my dirty laundry. I don't air my grievances. You're not going to see me on Instagram. I'm a very private person. So like, yes, Naoko, I'm classy, but like, you're going to get the call that has me like dropping F-bombs and screaming about things. And, I'm a firm believer in, like, there's just certain things that are private and deserve to be aired out in the course of, the people you trust the most, right? Like, I just don't think that we always have to publicly come out with a statement about so many things that are going on in our lives. I think, there's a centerness and a sense of worth as well when you kind of hold it close to the vest and you cherish those with the people you trust to get you through it, so that you can come out on top and you can still appear to be a professional. Because at the end of the day, your reputation is what it is, and you can't get it back if you mess up or you do something that you regret. So I always try to, I mean, I know I'm classy. I try to be professional and carry myself with dignity.
Well, Kathryn, I know you have a busy day ahead. Stay away for hazing and so much for this.
It's so great to be with you guys. I hope I can come on again sometime. We can chat more, but it's just so great what you guys are doing and the platform of, elevating women and showcasing women in sports and elsewhere. So keep up the great work. I'm excited to see all your interviews.
Well, so here's the thing, right, Abby? Like, I feel like when we listen back to this conversation, even though we're where we are in our careers, I feel like I still get inspiration and perspective out of it.
Yes, there was more than a few times where Kathryn would say something and I was like, or I can use that. Or, no, you're totally right about the confidence that you have to have in yourself and that preparation, and then how she doesn't feel nerves. She just channels that. I loved the perspective of how she channels things into a positive, whether it's facing adversity or doing something for the first time. It's something that I feel like I will take moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, I also love the fact that she continues to nurture her connections, whether it's at work or, in her personal circle. And I think that's what makes her so Kathryn, and for us, like, such a good friend and likable and all of that, is her ability to connect with people. Yeah.
Clearly. But I think also that she can kind of separate herself and allow herself to separate, because I think in this business, it can be all consuming all the time, and you're always on call. You're never off. You're always consuming information. And so it was really helpful for me to see her, someone who is at the top of her game, and that she does allow herself to kind of separate and give herself some time for that balance.
How do you find the time to read? Like, I don't understand.
I read on planes now, once I get through security, it's just me and a book.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I feel like now I have to like read. Like, I feel like
We can do some assignments. We should start a book club. Do you all want to start a book club with Naoko and I? And then we will also have a tutorial to show I'm so angry with myself. I wanted to ask Kathryn why she's never showed you how to use a curling iron. Oh, you spent so many days, so many nights getting ready together,
dude,
and it never came up.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I keep asking Abby to send me video and just like show me. I'm gonna do like a whole series.
I send her. All I do is send you direct messages of people using a curling iron and how to, and you're like, what? What is this?
I can't do it. I'm so interested how you made it this far in your life without using a curling iron. It's really restrained.
That's beside the point. If you would like to hear more conversations like that, let us know. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. We want to hear from you, and we really appreciate you listening.
Sorry, my hair is still shedding.